Hi everyone, this is a very quick disclaimer that the video is going to deal with some topics that might be sensitive and triggering to some people. And also, because I was very worried about misgendering anyone in handling this topic, you're going to see a lot of generic stock footage as I go over the information and details in this video. This video may contain language and topics that are sensitive to some viewers. If you'd like to skip the unpleasant details, fast forward to this timestamp. I think it's very important to consider the intersectional ways Black women can either find peace or danger, depending on where they move abroad to. So this video is providing research I found on the safest countries for transgender Black women. And I'll start by revisiting the countries already discussed on my channel, while highlighting countries that are in the red, i.e. danger zone, for transgender people. In this video, I want to be mindful that within the LGBTQ community, each individual chooses a pronoun in line with that individual's identity. And since I'll be talking about the community of transgender Black women as a whole, I'm going to avoid using pronouns to avoid using any that might misgender anyone watching this. I want to stress that I'm only avoiding the use of pronouns out of respect and a desire to limit harm, not for any other reason. As I did with my first videos, I want to begin by explaining why a transgender Black woman might feel the need to expatriate or permanently move from a country of origin to a new one. I found what was literally the perfect research paper specifically on the experiences of transgender expatriates, and part of the delay for this video was me waiting for the authors to approve my requested copy of their report. Alas, I still have not heard back from them, but I'm linking the page to where you could try yourself to request a copy in case you're interested in reading what they have to say on this matter. Outside of this report, I read a research paper on the specific risk of depression and mental illness transgender women face when living in unwelcoming environments. Essentially, there are two main solutions for this epidemic. One, transgender women have a reduced risk of depression or mental illness when in an environment most conducive to building a safe community of individuals with shared identities, which removes the need to compare oneself as a transgender woman to the norms or qualities associated with heteronormative women or women assigned female at birth. Instead, a community of individuals with shared identities allows transgender women to build an identity most comfortable with and only associated with being transgender, ignoring cisgender standards. 2. Transgender women have a better chance of healthier mental health outcomes where they are less threats to self-efficacy. Self-efficacy, according to this report, is someone believing that they have the ability to do something before they actually do it. So in this case, self-efficacy would mean believing that you could live a fruitful life as a transgender woman and have the coping skills to deal with what is called minority stress, which is the additional burdens you face as a marginalized person along with everyday stresses of life, like starting a new job or being late to an appointment. To summarize, the two main reasons transgender Black women may want to move abroad rather than continue living in countries of origin are 1, to find a safe, relatable community to do life with, and 2, to do life knowing who you are as a transgender Black woman won't make ordinary activities more stressful than they need to be, simply because of how society views you. Sadly, 96% of people murdered in the world today are transgender women, and transgender Black women make up the majority of those victims. So it's more important than ever for transgender Black women to find safe havens, not only to protect themselves mentally, but also physically. The link to this study is available in the description box below. So now I want to raise a huge red flag for countries that you should not move to if you identify as a transgender Black woman. These countries are known for going above simply throwing slurs around or refusing service. The worst of them is Brazil, which is not on the top 15 list of countries I focused on in this series, nor is it a socialist country, although the current ruling party, Brazil's Workers' Party, has a history of supporting labor unions and advocating for stronger government-led social welfare programs. According to a Pulitzer report published a year ago, Brazil is the country with the highest rate and number of transgender people being murdered in the world. This is even after transphobic acts were criminalized in 2019. Often police reports reports misgender transgender victims, making the official count of transgender women murdered in Brazil a complicated tally. The Pulitzer report was able to confirm that 82% of transgender people murdered in Brazil are Black. And for this fact alone, I'm going to highly recommend not moving there, hell, whether you're identifying as transgender or not. There are more statistics on the job and health outcomes of transgender Black women in this country, but the mere fact that you are likely to be killed 8 out of 10 times is more than enough reason not to move there, in my opinion. France has shown up multiple times as a least favorable destination for Black women of any identity, even while being in the top 5 choices of destinations for expats. There's a great report done by the France 24 news network about how difficult France makes it to grant transgender people access to medical services, like gender confirmation surgeries. For example, there's a 2-year waiting period that involves psychiatric analysis before receiving permission for these surgeries. France 24 also reported that in 2019, 587 transphobic attacks were reported in France. Bambi, the transgender Black woman featured in this report, shared her stories of verbal and physical harassment while studying in France. Apparently, there's a high rate of transgender students dropping out of university due to being misgendered by peers and faculty. Bambi dropped out of her studies due to the anxiety she felt in this environment. France's bureaucratic system for transgender people to change their government-issued paperwork based on their transgender identity versus the sex assigned to them at birth usually makes it difficult for transgender people to find work and often leads to long periods of underemployment or poverty. I'll link the video to this report available on YouTube in the description box below. Of the 15 countries I've researched for this series, Spain is making significant progress in affirming transgender people. And hopefully this will also make it a safer place for transgender Black women, although the intersectional racial identity may raise the problems I talked about in the last video published on this channel, which is linked at the top of the screen right now. In December 2022, the Congress of Deputies, Spain's version of the House of Representatives, passed a bill that removes the requirement for people ages 14 and older to get psychological and medical exams before changing the gender assigned at birth. Because Spain has a bicameral legislature, the Senate still has to approve this bill to officially make it law. But many transgender people and allies in Spain see this as a positive sign of improving the quality of life for transgender people. My YouTube analytics advise me to keep these videos very short, so frankly, that's why I'm ending the video here. My intention, though, is to combine my evaluation of the experiences of Black cisgender and transgender women in my next video, focusing on Canada, a repeat on the series, and Portugal, also mentioned in this series. If these videos are helping you and you find them beneficial, I need you to A, like this video, B, leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on this topic, and C, share these videos with someone who can benefit from the knowledge. That goes a long way in giving me feedback on whether to continue this series and how to customize it directly to your needs. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.